Okay, so I'd like to ask particularly about creative projects,
Right.
because creativity is something it's hard to force to a deadline. Like, I'm going to be creative at
Yeah, now.
noon or whenever. Yes.
Yeah.
How do you work with creative projects? How do you?
Look, I learned very early on because I started my life writing. And I studied English literature and got my graduate degree in writing and poetry and wanted to be a writer. That's all I wanted. So when I first got out of graduate school, I would write all the time, because look, the secret to writing, what's the secret to being creative? Be creative. Like, what do painters do? They paint. What do writers do? They write. Okay? It's people put all of these energies, and millions of books are written about how to do this and all that stuff, but writers write, painters paint, singers sing, musicians play. Okay? But you have to know what your time, it's your circadian rhythm. All right? My time happened to be between 8 a.m. and 12 noon. Okay? And I later found out that that was Hemingway's time. He wrote all these books and all this stuff, and he wrote every day between 8 a.m. and 12 p.m. That's it, right? And it didn't matter how much he wrote or how little he wrote. That was all he was good for. I found out it was exactly the same way with me. I would try to push volume, okay? I have to be massively creative, right? And I go back and read it, and the only good stuff was between 8 and 12, and then the rest was dribble. So I would protect that space. And I also honored the fact that if nothing came, at least I sat there for those 4 hours, okay? And I could doodle. Now, I got better at it, so like my output became better, but the quality became better. But I would never muck around with that, okay? I'm on a deadline, fine. I'm work on it between 8 and 4, and that's it, right? Because afterwards, it's crap, right? And I think that creative people and creative projects are very mysterious. Okay, the creativity is very mysterious. It's like this calling from the gods, and it's this inspiration and the muse and all those things. It's actually just freaking hard work, And I would never start writing before I had done voluminous outlining. I mean, I would fill up notebook after notebook after notebook of outlines, to the point where when I sat down and started writing, it was all happening in my head anyway. I knew the structure, I knew where the characters were going, and often they took me on journeys, but I wasn't going, oh, well, what should happen next? Well, I don't know what's going to happen next, what the person's going to say, but I know the room they're in, I know the time of day, I know who's there, and I know what's supposed to be the outcome. Same for any creative project. I mean, you've got to protect your muse, you've got to protect your time, know your time, don't fight with it, but also just sit down and get it done. That's where the magic disappears, but that's where actually the project comes to life. The magic is what seduces us into creativity. And then why a lot of people fail is they go, man, this is hard work. Well, duh. It's blood, sweat, and tears.